Peter, okay, the first question I would like to direct to you because banks are usually having the most impact by technology. Now, with the adoption of RPA and also generative technology, what is the implication to the talent development strategy for your bank?
Thank you, Eunice. It's a great question. Well, I think bank is one of the industry that we are very keen to look into RPA. We have, I'm sure you heard about it before, like, we developed the virtual machine, virtual ATM. Now we are in a very hot topics about whether we can have a virtual bank as well. Actually, my boss, for the last 6 months, he's very, very busy, extremely busy around how do you set up a virtual bank. And the virtual bank, the concept behind virtual bank is, in fact, we have a lot of robotic process automation as well. But bank is facing a very difficult situations, whether how we deal with people as well, because we have a lot of legacy systems as well, people, process. But how do we blend together all these things to automate it? We have some success case, but we have a lot of failures as well in the past, especially when we try to automate our credit assessment process. This is one of the very, very key process in the banking industry. But we are sending our people to learn, and in fact, our regulator as well, they are also learning together and give us a lot of insightful information from the industry. This is why we need our people in the market not only thinking about how the bank works, but it's more important how these people have the change of the mindset, because we have a lot of legacies as well as people in the bank like me, working in the bank over 20 years, most of them. So it takes a long process for people to break through from the traditional bankings, from old school thought, like I'm always talking about, we have brick and mortar. But nowadays, we are more keen on how do we throw away all the legacies and into a new era for the bank. So we need people have a very, like what you mentioned from ACCA, the 7 quotients, especially the innovative quotient is one of the very key points for the bank, how we train up our new employees.
Yeah, so employee has to be innovative, change your mindset, so creative quotient, all right?
Right.
Okay, so now recruiting staff for the bank, not just knowing the bank knowledge, but also need to have the creative mindset.
Maybe I can give you one example, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Actually, nowadays, in the old days, we hiring people from business school, from finance, from accountants. Yes, we are still, and we are very keen into that areas. But you would be surprised. In fact, banks like I think the investment bank already started, as well as now commercial banking, even retail banking. So we hire engineers into our industries that they have a very, very different mindsets that give us a very different insight as well.
Okay, so one word to conclude is change, all right? Everything is changing. We need people who have changed mindset. All right, Teddy, now given Peter mentioned that we need to change, we need to look at different type of people, picking them into the company. So how about like newer development with the strategic partnership between New World and ACCA? How do you see that this help you to develop or groom your next generation?
Well, that's why I'm here today. I come to try to contribute a little bit and take more from ACCA. So with all this program being a strategic partner of ACCA, we got a lot of benefits here. First of all, for example, we joined the ACCA program. Our student can actually learn from all the structured programs. Learning knowledge is not very difficult nowadays, right? Skills are all on the website. To me, as a learner, we have 3 levels of learning to me. Okay, first of all is Hoksik, meaning just acknowledge, okay, understand what it is. Hokman, meaning ask questions. Okay, you have to reiterate in your mindset and get understand and deal with and get aggress a little bit and think what it is associated with. And most importantly is Hoksap, get practice. So with ACCA, we have a case, real examples. I think our students are actually going into the practices, going to real world, not just the knowledge. Knowledge is nothing without practices. So with these, we think, it is a really good platform for us. We're all here, right? I want to connect with you guys because you are all the knowledge bank. You are all the practices. You are all the experience that we can share together. So with our, students, our friends, our colleagues, we can share to each other. That makes much more sense. And secondly, a 7 quotient. Wow, all these quotients I really admire. Really admire. They are really somebody doing something great. Why put the technical and ethical quotient in the first front? Why technical? Technical is nothing if you really have a good ethical applications. So technical is really our core competence of accountant or of us, right? So these are technical. But the point is in the future in RPA, in the future of robotics, AI, so what actually drives world working? The robotics, not us, but actually underlying the algorithm, what they actually think, how they actually think. They cannot. Only people, we can think. So we put into those ethical quotient, make sure the world is good, doing good things for all people, mankind. Otherwise, if some bad rulers ruining all the robotics, the world can turn into a sort of, hell. So I think, technical and ethical quotient put in the first forefront is very important. The other quotients like creativity quotient is good. Experience quotient, what is it? So why experience? People in the future, just our 5 senses, including our 6 senses, we just feel. We don't really care what, but how I feel good, all right? The feeling is very important. So experiencing something that's really people to remaining in a life. So you can do it. Experience good. That means the world is good. So by this, I think the 7 quotient actually give a very good framework for our company to rely on to make sure that our people are driving a very good future for all mankind. So always say that renewal is not selling you flats, we're selling you living experience. So to make sure it's very good, so we learn from you. So I come here to contribute a little bit and take more away. So thank you.
So we need to have ethical manager to manage the robots. Otherwise, the robots will be not ethical, right? Okay, cool. All right, David, all right, David, as going back to the report we just mentioned, 77% of the respondents said that actually they feel there's a lot of room to do. They feel that by doing that, you actually bring benefit. Yet, only 7% of them really put in money and taking action, all right, doing RPA in Hong Kong, all right? So how do you see that? How is Hong Kong compared to other countries as well? And, what is your comment on this area?
Okay, so I actually think that 7% is probably about right, okay, because of the fact that, I don't know if we can make this a little bit interactive. Maybe through the room here. How many people within this room here currently are doing RPA within the companies that you currently work for? Maybe a quick show of hands or whatever. Yeah, it's actually quite low.
7%.
Yeah, it's about 10, it's actually even less, to be honest. So that maybe gives an idea that RPA, right, we've all heard about it and we all know about it, but the fact is that in general, the adoption is actually quite low because, as you mentioned earlier on, the fact is that it's only the large corporates. I've been looking at this sort of area for the last 2 years or so, and the thing is that from what I've seen, it's only the large corporates that are able to make the investment in terms of standardizing their procedures and also their sort of like policies and also centralizing things into maybe like somewhere like a shared service center or whatever can actually take advantage of it, okay? So what I'm seeing at the moment is that where it stands with RPA is that it's just the sort of like the traditional sort of like bell curve that you actually have with anything in that you have the early adopters, okay, who are like the leaders and stuff like that are right up there, and they're the ones that are taking advantage of this technology right now, okay? But the thing is that with that, of course, you have like, things like, they've got to do all the errors and everything, but on top of that, what I'm seeing within RPA is that very recently, I had a bit of time to spend, and have a chat with an RPA expert, okay? And this is a really, really interesting sort of statistic to let you guys know. So he gave me the experience of a recent case study that it was a client of theirs, and it's a very well-known British supermarket you've all heard of. It's Tesco, okay? And what it was that, as you can understand, Tesco, have so many invoices. They have like, hundreds of thousands of invoices with all the supply lines and everything that they have. And to give you an idea of the numbers, all right, they had 250 AP accountants, okay, in India. And very recently, what happened was that they actually went through the first phase of RPA and they reduced that number from 250 to 70, okay? Now that isn't actually the most shocking thing, all right, because he said that very recently, he's actually reduced that number down to 5. Okay, and the only reason why they actually kept 5 was because the fact that they thought that people didn't really have the appetite to fully automate everything. Okay, so RPA with the technology as it stands today already can fully automate the whole AP process. And I think that's absolutely crazy. And the thing is that, I mean, so for example, like smaller companies like ourselves, like Vista, we're only about 4,000 employees, okay? But the thing is that why I think this is a really exciting thing was the next bit that you told me about, which was AI, okay? And also, I don't know if you guys have actually heard about the Internet of Things and sort of big data. So what's coming in the next generation and what sort of companies have been doing is that only large corporates have been able to take advantage of this technology because of the fact that they have, what did the guy say? He said they have teams of like 200 programmers programming all these sort of like robotics, these bots to do these automatic sort of like processes. But what's coming in the future will be that through the Internet of Things and big data, what will happen is that the internet will actually know, for example, just say you get a DHL UK invoice. What will happen is that the internet will actually know where the invoice number is, where the actual date is, etc. And what will happen is that even smaller companies like ourselves, etc., will be able to take advantage of this technology. So in the end, it will not be just large corporates that will actually have to have this back end, okay? So what, in the future, what will happen, and I'm telling you, this is the thing, this technology is coming to all of us. I mean, I'm saying in 5 to 10 years' time, what will happen is that it will all sort of like be fully automated. And then what will happen is that I think it comes at a good time as well because I think I mentioned before when we talk about the talent management part in the fact that I think the young sort of millennials today don't really want to do something what I call in Chinese, 加入數. I think, yeah, I'll let somebody else explain what that is in Cantonese English. But the fact is that the young millennials don't really want to be just entering invoices. And I think robotics comes at a perfect time to automate and do these so-called boring transactional sort of things.
I see. So 250 number of people dropped to 5. So where are the 245 people gone? All right. So actually, there's a lot implication to the management, people's management. So how that 245 people, all right, Peter, all right, bank, all right. So if RPA is coming and you greatly reduce the number of employee doing the manual work, all right. So to the bank, would it be meaning that? It means that some people that you can reduce the size of the headcount?
Wow. Should I answer the questions up front? Well, yeah. I give you an example before I answer your questions. In fact, David gave us a very, very good illustrations on how do we reduce the number of headcounts from 250 to 5. In fact, we gone through a very similar process. I mentioned before we have a credit assessment. In fact, one part of the credit assessment, we need to collect our client's financial statement as well as their bank account statement as well. It's a huge stack of documentations. Well, usually we handle hundred of documentations from clients because for the last 3 years, usually we collect. And we have a huge team, especially we have a huge team in our Indian base in the Chennai areas. We have over 60,000 of employees working on purely handling documentations processing as well as like other banking process as well. And huge amount of headcounts, huge amount of manpower and resources. The very key part is, well, we do automation. I mean, we find out how do we can eliminate some process, how do we automate using the RPA as well every day. We have 40 scientists sitting in Chennai helping us to improve our process every day. These are from different universities from US. We're hiring good people to do the RPA. But I never see we have a huge amount of people cut up front because as a bank, we take care of our staff first of all. This is why we always mention we are here for good. And the very important part is how do we train up our employees? We move them to different areas if today we can help them for automations. In fact, we have to bring a very important concept for our people that we are not taking out the job, but we are trying to improve their work process to help them to have a better and better and better working place. Instead of, we come for take out your job and then we cut you. This is not the way we work. This is really not the way we introduce our RPA to our employees. But of course, if there are some process we can be automated by robots, that's always true in this world. It happens all the time. But the most important things that the bank offer to our employees. We give them proper training and proper way to move from different parts. This is one of the traditions for Stan Chart, because our people can move in from one department to another, that he never know the new departments is, is a very new knowledge for them, but we give them chance opportunities as well as training to give them from one place to another, from one country to another country. This is why we have huge opportunities in the bank as well.
I see. So the total number of headcount is the same, but maybe the department are no longer that department in Shanghai, right? The 6,000 may be moving to Hong Kong. Wow. All right, creating more jobs in Hong Kong. All right, so basically the conclusion is we have to upskill our labor. All right, and training is important. That's why ACCA qualification, the future champion, help to upgrade our future generation. Okay, Teddy, all right, given we have to upgrade our talents. So how's New World Development in doing, when they do recruit, what type of employee or what type of people, candidate is highly sold by corporation? How do you see that?
Well, first of all, I think in 10 to 20 years' time, there's no more employment. There's only deployment concept. People being deployed, but it's a task, project. So with this slash economy, right, people are doing multiple things altogether. So what it means? It means people must possess a portfolio of competence. So you can do all different kind of things together, right? So people will look for, as a person, I look for employability by my employer, being deployed in any one of the position, job, task, whatsoever. So it's going back to some audit time, right? Time sheet. So a time allocation. If you're idle, that means you're not deployable or not. So what we do in New World is actually, we try to make sure that people get a chance to unleash their potential in different areas by joining and participating in different functions. Of course, back to ACCA, this is a very important part of myself, right? So I really sell it, okay? So with this program, we have the chance to learn from all 7 quotients. What's left when people, are job taken up by robotics? We are just thinkers. We are creators. So that means creativity is very important. Vision is very important. So with this training, I think everybody can be a boss of the robotics and use robotics as a tool to help you do the job rather than you doing a job under the guidance of robotics. So that's very important, right? So in future, when you have to train yourself up with a portfolio of competence, so you're doing something creative, something different, need a task, of course you have a lot of processing, RPA, robots to help you do it. But the point is, you drive it, you lead it, you make a success, you launch it. Communication is one thing. So all in all, people are doing the people's job, and machine are doing machine job. So by training, we tap into the ACCA, teaching people that you need to be afraid of in the future being taken up the job, right? Because you have a bigger mind, a higher level, more visionary, but be ethical. So that leads to a better world, and people will actually contribute rather than the doer. Of course, a lot of people would still doing the same thing if they feel comfortable with doing the same thing. But of course, by time they will die out. So it's natural evolution, as Darwin said, right? So I can't do that for people like that. But people with a very creative mindset, proactive mindset, with a good higher vision, they will succeed and be sustainable and make use of good RPA, good AI, good robotics to do the job for themselves, and the world can be much better. So that's why, as a training, we have tried to engage our people in different activities, make sure they unleash the potential, have a good vision, have a good mindset, a good attitude. We are hiring people of good and proactive mindset rather than just skills. Skills are easily acquired, but the mindset is very definitely, the most important part.
Yeah, I have to tell my my niece that we have to differentiate what's machine job and what's human job. All right, being human job is flexible. All right, so that I can be deployed in different posts. All right, okay, David. All right, come back to you again. I understand that Vistra is the approved employer with ACCA. With this recognition and with this connection with ACCA, how do you see that it helped you in your talent management?
First things first, I'm very, very proud that Vistra Group is actually a platinum approved employer. I think it's one of the sort of it's been a labor of love. It took us 2 years to actually get there. And I really have to thank our global L&D director, Penny, for actually aligning and going through the whole process of setting minimum standards across. You would never believe it's actually really, really hard when you've got managing directors that are looking after their budgets and stuff like that. That really, and but in the end, I think in terms of the global sort of like branding and also where Vistra wants to go, I think it's incredibly important. So a little bit of background about what Vistra does and where we are. So for people that don't know Vistra, okay, so what is it? We are a global corporate services provider, okay? So we're one of the top 3 firms across the globe that provides payroll, accounting, a bit of tax, and also sort of like trusts, etc., and corporate services like COSEC, all right? And what it is that our whole business sector is consolidating. It's a bit like what happened about 20 years ago with the Big Four, or the Big Five, for those people that remember that far back. But the fact is that we're consolidating in our sector. And one of the things that we're trying to do is sort of like elevate our global sort of like branding. So at the moment, when people say, you know, who do you work for? I mean, at the moment, if you say you work for Deloitte, EY, you know, and all, KPMG, etc., you know, everybody knows who they are. What we're trying to do is that I think, you know, being a globally recognized employer and partnering with ACCA, for example, you know, it's sort of like, you could say we're kind of leveraging on ACCA's sort of like back to sort of like raise our profile as well. But I think it's actually quite important in that to be a global sort of like employer, I mean, to be platinum as well, I realized just looking at the website that we're actually just one of a handful, I mean, under 10 that actually are global professional development and also employer. So from that perspective, I think, you know, the whole sort of accreditation, etc., is incredibly important for us, especially the fact that ACCA is a international qualification in terms of accounting. So you'll be also very pleased to hear that, you know, one of the things that we're trying to do in terms of talent management and retaining talent is that people, the young people, I mean, I think it's one of your surveys as well, is that they want to travel, you know, and they want to have mobility, all right? The young kids today, they see it as super important to have that opportunity. And I mean, one of the things that we identified was, I mean, to take the case study as well, we have a lot of people in China now that, and also in some of the other countries whereby they are actually CPAs in their local jurisdictions, but they're also doing ACCA on top of that because they want an internationally recognized qualification that they can use anywhere. It's recognized everywhere. So in that respect, I think ACCA is actually something that's incredibly important to us. And good news for you is that we are going to propose quite soon, and Stephen will hear about this as well, we're going to actually propose that ACCA is going to be one of our core accounting qualifications that will be recognized across the group. So we'll be actively promoting ACCA you know, in line with some of the other sort of like traditional ones as well.
Understand. Actually, you can leverage on not just branding with ACCA. Actually, we train up a lot of young generation accountants that it will be a good supply of talent as well. Okay. Well, that's time. I'm conscious of time. So, last question to Teddy or to everyone. Okay. How do you think that the recent change in ACCA qualification are going to produce the right talent for your organization in this age? Would you help?
Well, I really think so. Back to the old selling messages here, right? So the seventh quotient actually drive a lot of changes to our people mindset. So go back to, I mean, I said skills are very easily acquired. What's underlying it? I mean, the seventh quotient gives a very good framework for us to think about it. How we can actually reconfigure our talent, you know, pool, the competence in this direction, so that make it more sensible, more structured, more easily paced, with all the examples, I mean, all the case, you know, actually realize it in the day-to-day life. So people can actually see their, I mean, plus and minus easily. And as a trainer, I can see their potentials much more easily. So put them into the right place. This is what we're doing, right? So this is really good. So I really thank you for giving me the chance to, I mean, to learn from ACCA. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Peter?
I give you like my personal experience. In fact, 2 years ago, I spoke to Jane and Eunice. In fact, I invite them to come over to meet my relationship managers. I'm having a team of 100 plus relationship managers. In fact, I'm pushing my team to have, you know, qualifications of ACCA as well. And I personally, and I am a strong believer as well, it helps a lot for my employees. And I hope this is a very strong message to everyone as well. ACCA is a very, very good channel to train up your staff, your employees, and helping them to fit into the market. This is what we look for, in fact, and this is a way that giving my employees as well, they are having a very good opportunities to know about, this is not just banking, but the other areas as well. So ACCA is a very, very good means for me and for my banks as well.
Maybe one more. Okay, can I one more before you? So sorry about that, Jiamin. So why are you here? After all, connectivity is very important, right? ACCA give all the support on connectivity, no matter it's one by one role or what other initiative, globalization. These are very important. After all, you are the resources. You are the other knowledge sources. You are all the encyclopedia. So you are the best practices. And tapping in ACCA give us all this benefit to learn from each other. And this is a global network, not just a local one. So that's why I think this is pretty good.
Maybe just lastly would be that I think the ACCA qualification, with the changes that is actually moving, I think it really does offer the younger generation, because that's the people that will be doing the qualification normally. The opportunity is something that's sort of exciting. It's in line with sort of, how can I say, it's in line with meeting the sort of changing working environment of RPA, which is very important in that the transactional stuff will be done by robots in the future. I just hope to God that maybe in about 5 years' time we're not having another sort of session discussing about robots have taken over everything, right? But I think ACCA really does offer us the opportunity for these young people to say in Chinese again, to sing le, as in which is another sort of. So I think I'll just close on that one.
Thank you for sharing. Well, we are not robots, so we will feel hungry, okay? So it's about time, all right? But before we start our lunch, I would like everybody to give a big applause to our speaker, all right? Okay, thank you.